Yo, what is up YouTube? James Baek here, to third place at the most recent World Championship back in 2019, as well as a 2020 International Champion, here to break down some Pokemon today, competitive-wise for VGC, based off what we got from the Crown Tundra. And we got an interesting Pokemon to cover here, potentially a Dark Horse candidate for a very, very good Mon. Or maybe it's not that great. Will it be good? Who knows? But that's what I'm here to cover. But if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like down below if you enjoy this kind of content, or if you will enjoy it. You could watch the video first, and if you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below. It really does help me out. And go check out the subscribe button if you want more content like this, as well as some battle content that I do, high level battle content and explanations, as well as some VGC guides to improve skill levels. So if you want to improve at VGC, highly recommend hitting the subscribe button, and make sure you check if you think you're subscribed, because you might have been unsubscribed based on YouTube. But otherwise, let's get started with today's analysis. So with Crown Tundra, we got two new Pokemon that I really want to cover, and we'll be covering one of the first ones here. It is the Ghost Horse Spectrier, or however you want to pronounce this Pokemon's name, because I'm not sure how you pronounce this Pokemon's name. I'm really not sure. It's just a Ghost Horse. We're just going to call it Ghost Horse. We have its ability, Grim Nye, or Grim Nay, or I don't know how you pronounce it. Grim Nye. I feel like it could be either one. I'm going to call it Nye. It could be either one. But basically, it's a special attack Moxie. So basically, if you don't know how it works, when this Pokemon uses an attacking move and gets a KO on an opponent, it is able to get a special attack boost by one stage. Basically, the special version of Moxie, where Moxie does physical attack, this one's special attack. And yeah, this ghost Pokemon, very, very interesting. So Calyrex is banned and the fused forms are banned. So we're just going off the single based Ghost Horse that was given to us in the Crown Tundra. We have its stats right here that we can see. Base 100 HP, which is actually a pretty high base HP stats. Pretty good. It matches up with Tyranitar for comparison. So if you see here, even without any investment, 175, that's actually a pretty high number. And if you want to invest it full way, 207, really high. It actually is a pretty good HP stat. 65 attack, which doesn't matter. This is going to be a special attacker anyway. 60 defense is actually pretty low, so this is where it kind of hurts, as it's going to be hit by physical attacks like Dragapult's max Phantasm is going to hurt, Tyranitar's max Darkness or Lash Outs are going to hurt. So this is where it kind of falls, because it doesn't have the best defense in the world. Of course, it could be made up with Intimidate, which does help out Spectrier, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and it does have decent special defense as well cover. Base 145 special attack is kind of crazy. Comparison wise, this is like a Landorus variant attack stat. It is a pretty good number. 145 is pretty solid. It will hit pretty hard even if you're not investing too much into a special attack. It has a really high base special attack stat, and that is pretty good, especially with its offensive typing, Pure Ghost. Pure Ghost type, Ghost moves just hit in general is probably one of the best offensive typings in the game. There aren't many Pokemon that resisted. The only ones that resisted are Dark, and I believe Normal, immune to it, but otherwise I don't think anything else resistant in the game, if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually a really good offensive typing. So yeah, it's special defense base 80, which is okay. It's about average. With base 100 HP, it's going to be able to take some special attacks pretty well. So it's actually pretty decent in that department. So even though it's not the highest, it's actually still pretty decent overall. So it's acceptable. And then base 130 speed, which is pretty good. If you don't know, I think that's like tied for with no multipliers or anything, like any abilities. If we're just talking about base speed stats, I believe this is one of the highest in the game. So if I remember how the speed order goes, it's Regieleki, I think, at the top with 200. Then I think it's Pheromosa. I think Pheromosa's in the 150s if I'm not mistaken, but it's pretty fast, I can tell you that much. Then I think it goes, I think it's Excelgor next. It's either Excelgor or Dragapult. I'm pretty sure Excelgor is faster. I think Excelgor, if I remember right, 145, because I've used that Pokemon before competitively. And then I think Dragapult at 142, which of course these are all listed by VGC allowed mons. I'm not counting, of course, Zacian, which is faster. And then I think it goes to the 130s, which I believe would be Spectrier, Crobat, and Tapu Koko. So it's tied for like 5th highest in the game, which is still pretty good. There's not much that will outspeed this Pokemon. You don't have to invest in speed too. since there's a pretty big gap otherwise, I think usually, unless you want to maybe outspeed like Talonflame, for instance, I guess, and whatever really is lower. But otherwise, it kind of drops immensely to like 110s that we're talking about. So you don't have to invest in max speed, which is pretty nice. You could try to make up for that defense, or maybe you want to go more special attack, maybe just general bulk of HP. So it's pretty good of a mon because you don't have to invest too much into special attack or speed, I feel like, in general. Now, that's a lot of the good things about this Pokemon, but there are some downsides to this Pokemon, which is mainly it's going to be its move pool. So if we look at the move pool as I'm scrolling down slowly, as you might notice, its move coverage isn't exactly the greatest. As you can see, it just doesn't really do too much here. So yeah, that's the biggest problem. You see the lack of coverage and options for this Pokemon, which I think is where this Pokemon really struggles with. As for instance, it's just, as you can tell by the type coverage, it really doesn't have much. Even special attack, of course, it's base 145 special attack. You want to be using special moves. You don't want to use the physical moves. Doesn't really have much for special moves, as we see Dark Pulse, which probably not really going to use when you have Shadow Ball. And as you can tell, Shadow Ball, of course, you want to run Stab with its ghost typing. And yeah, Shadow Ball is obviously the move you want to have. And usually Shadow Ball hits most of the things that Dark already hits. So yeah, you probably don't want to have both. It's kind of repetitive. And then the next special moves, as you can see, really are going to be Hyper Beam and Mud Shot, and otherwise it just doesn't get anything else. So that's the problem with this Pokemon. It does lack coverage. But it does get some setup moves, which is kind of nice. Calm Mind specifically, and Nasty Plot. Nasty Plot probably being the better one, as I don't think this Pokemon's going to be like super big tanky because it doesn't get recovery moves. So it's not like going to be super useful with the special defense boost. As well as if you do run Mud Shot, you do get a max Quake, which will boost its special defense. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have Calm Mind. I do think the Nasty Plot set is probably better. I think, yeah. So yeah, you obviously don't want to use the physical moves. There's really no point of it. And yeah, its support moves, I guess, aren't too bad. If you do want to go support method with this Pokemon, it does get Haze, which is kind of cool, having a fast Haze user, which is pretty nice, as this Pokemon can, you know, maybe outspeed Pokemon like Togekiss, for instance, after a max Airstream boost, and it can haze that away, which, you know, could be useful. It does get options for Taunt and Willis support, which is actually pretty nice, which is a fast Taunt and Willis is always welcomed. It does also get Snarl and Bulldoze, but really that's really it. You compare this, I guess, with weakness policy Pokemon that are weak to Bulldoze, I guess, like maybe Metagross, which is going to be a pretty common tool, I feel like, early metagame. But yeah, otherwise just really not much options. There really isn't too much you can get out of this. I feel like its support moves aren't that great, its coverage isn't that great, but I do think that this Pokemon does have some decent potential overall. So I came up with 3 different sets. The first one here we're going to go over is going to be a Life Orb set. But of course, before we go over this set, if you are enjoying the content, again, be sure to check out the subscribe button and make sure you leave a like down below, as it really does help me out. And if you want to see me stream with potentially this Pokemon and a lot more, some high level battling, we do that on the Twitch. And if you have any VTC questions and want to get some of the opinions from me, feel free to drop by twitch.tv/JamesBaek, link in the description down below. But otherwise, yeah, so I think Life Orb is going to be probably a primary set. I feel like I think Life Orb is just good. Having that ghost boost is pretty nice, because you might not even need a Nasty Plot, for instance, to get a KO. For instance, you might just be able to fire off a Life Orb Shadow Ball, and that's basically it. If the Pokemon doesn't have good special defense, like it'll definitely easily one-shot a Kartana, for instance. So yeah, definitely I think Life Orb is definitely potential. This Pokemon can outspeed Tapu Koko, or maybe speed type of Tapu Koko depending on the situation, and maybe just pick up the knockout with Shadow Ball or Mud Shot. I think what's cool about a Spectrier is Mud Shot with a fast Mon is actually kind of useful, because it could act as a form of offense as well as a form of speed control against the opponent, which is kind of nice. I do think Nasty Plot is a better set than Calm Mind, especially on an offensive one. And yeah, something just simple, max special attack, max speed, and 4 HP. That's all you really need, I think, just for the offensive pressure that you can dish out with this Pokemon. Because really, I think your goal is just going to be able to do a lot of damage with the set and just outspeed a lot of Pokemon hit hard. And I think that is definitely going to be the goal of this set. I think you could replace Mudshot on the set with maybe Hyper Beam if you want a bit more speed control, or maybe you want to get rid of Protect. I think with Hyper Beam, I think those are probably the best. You definitely want Shadow Ball and Nasty Plot on an offensive set. I think you do want Mudshot just because it's coverage. I think having coverage is just better in general. It also maybe hits Pokemon, for instance. It can hit like a Tyranitar, for instance, that Shadow Ball wouldn't get normally, or maybe some other Pokemon that would just be nice. And you could probably have Hyper Beam over Protect, or maybe over Mudshot if you don't like Mudshot, because it is a weak max move. It's not the strongest. It's not that 130. I think it's 110, or it might be 120, but I don't remember the details. But yeah, not exactly the greatest. But we gotta work with what we got, you know? So yeah, this is definitely, I think, probably going to be a common Life Orb set if you do want to use it offensively. I do think that this set is probably the second best set. I actually think originally I thought this was probably going to be the best set, but overall I think the set is solid for damage output. I do think it does hit hard in Dragapult, and it does have a good speed tier. Of course, it doesn't get the better coverage that Dragapult gets, especially utility and Airstream, which is unfortunate. But overall, this Pokemon can still hit really hard, and it can probably tank an attack. Like, even though it's got base 60 defense with base 100 HP, as long as it's not like a super effective max move, it should be able to live at least maybe one hit and do some damage. And yeah, being able to, you know, utilize as much damage as possible with the Life Orb, Nasty Plot and its ability, I think it could get snowballing real quickly. So second set I want to go over, and I think this is the potential for the best potential set for this Pokemon, is going to be like a Grassy Seed or Electric Seed. If you don't know, those kinds of seeds boost up the physical defense stat by 1 stage when in the terrain. So you have to pair it with Tapu Koko or Tapu Rillaboom. I mean Tapu Bulu, or you can pair it with Rillaboom. That also works too. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is actually the best set for Spectrier. I think overall the seed one covers a bit more of the weaknesses. So of course you can have Intimidate to help out with Spectrier and make it easier for it to tank the physical attacks. But you could also pair it with Grassy Seed or Electric Seed, and also have, you know, if you pair it with Rillaboom, for instance, you get Fake Out Pressure. You could have Intimidate in the back, so you could lead like Rillaboom Spectrier, and then switch out to your Intimidate user, and then hey, Spectrier is taking those attacks, got a decent special defense stat already, probably really solid. And you can even pair it up with like a Calm Mind set, or maybe you want to max Quake immediately. Why not? Although I think you want to get a Calm Mind up just in case. But yeah, I think this set's also not bad. I think you could also run Nasty Plot over Calm Mind. You definitely don't need I think either or is fine. You definitely don't need Calm Mind instead. I think this also can work for a Nasty Plot set, because you could boost up your special defense with Quake. But this one's more of a bulkier mon in general that doesn't need all the special attack. Again, it's already pretty high. As you can see, 36 modest, 187, which is actually pretty insane. The speed here, 228. I decided, why not just outspeed max 110s, like regular Gengar, for instance. You can debate about what you want to invest in speed. I think having some bulk on, especially a Grassy Seed or Electric Seed set, is definitely the better call. I think they're better also than Misty Seed and Psychic Seed, because you want to invest, I think, in the physical defense, because it's already got a decent special defense. And with Calm Mind or Max Quake boost, I don't think you absolutely need that. So I think this set allows it to tank better. It still outspeeds a lot of Pokemon, and after a boost you could get some knockouts, boost your special defense even, and then with its ability start snowballing. And I think this one's more effective at being able to survive longer in the field than the Life Orb set. So this is definitely a bulkier set. It does rely a bit more on setup, but I think overall, I think this has the most potential out of the sets, and I think it gives it quite a decent role with being versatile and being able to take hits as well as set up pretty comfortably, I feel like, overall. So yeah, I think that is the set. Also went 193 HP here, because that allows it to get an extra point of terrain healing from the grassy terrain if you decide to go Rillaboom or Tapu Bulu as your partner. And finally, the last set that I have is a support set. Again, it's probably very similar to the set. I didn't want to really make a custom set because really we don't know what's going to be here. But basically, this Pokemon is kind of similar to Dragapult in a way. what you're going to try to do is support right here with like being able to like get a fast Will-O-Wisp, get a fast Taunt off, Snarl, which is pretty nice to lower the special attack stat of your opponents, and just have Shadow Ball for some hard hitting. You could also run like, there are a decent amount of support moves you can run. You could run Bulldoze, you could run Mud Shot if you want to go off, keep that special attack stat useful, as well as like Foul Play, for instance, for, you know, just that extra support. But I feel like there isn't too many options with this. I definitely think this is a weaker set. You could run Haze as well on the support one. I do think this is definitely the weaker set overall, but I do think it's okay. I think it's definitely usable. So yeah, just being able to hit hard while supporting the rest of the team with its fast speed, able to shut down a lot of options, especially if they don't have like Pranks or Tailwind, for instance. I think this Pokemon definitely can do some work. I don't think it's the best utilization of the set, but if you want to support Pokemon with these kind of move sets, as well as being able to do a lot of damage in the process, because this Pokemon still hurt. That Shadow Ball is still gonna hurt, especially if you're able to get Chip early on and finish a KO with Shadow Ball. It's still gonna be able to get a +1 and do a ton of damage. I do think that this is still inferior to probably Dragapult, which has probably better, it just has better options. Dragapult has better options for supporting because it gets better coverage moves, as it is better because of the fact that you are having better support moves, as well as like moves that just like help out more Pokemon in general. For instance, like Dragapult Breaking Swipe, for instance, able to have Surf, which is nice for like Colossal. As you can see, as Spectrier doesn't really have as much, they're more generally based, and you know, it's not like the best. I do think Dragapult does outclass Spectrier in the support department. It's not the worst support Pokemon, but definitely a different route you could go, but I don't think it's like absolutely necessary at all. I do think, again, the best set is going to be like a Grassy Seed setup set. I think that's where this Pokemon can definitely shine, since it already has pretty decent HP, as well as like its special attack and speed are pretty insane. So I think that would be the way I would run this Pokemon, but this is definitely an option if you do want to try it out. And if you do try it out, let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, yeah, that is going to be Spectrier. So let me know what you guys think about this Pokemon. I think usage wise, I think this Pokemon, I don't think it's going to be high in usage. I don't. It's very, very specific, and it's not like it offers much utility. The thing is more of a Pokemon, maybe it can help if you need the typing, or if you want to need an offensive Pokemon that's fast as a high speed tier bracket, because it is very fast. The thing is, it's really not supporting a team in general. I feel like even the support set isn't even that necessary at all. Again, I think Dragapult's superior in that way. So Spectrier wouldn't be a Pokemon you just like say, oh, this supports my team really well. I think it's like, if I want that option, if I need a high fast Pokemon, for instance, with high speed, that, you know, maybe can pressure, or and maybe the ghost typing is just useful in general, then I'll add this to the team. I don't think it's like a Pokemon you can just like say, oh, I need this for support, I need this exact Pokemon because it does this, because I feel like it's a really hard Pokemon to justify in that kind of situation. But I do think it does have potential. Again, I think that Grassy Seed set could be, or Electric Seed set could actually be very scary. I do think that it can be a threat. So yeah, that is going to be Spectrier. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Again, these are mainly my opinions and my thought process, but let me know what you think about this Pokemon down below in the comment section. And again, if you do enjoy these kinds of videos, be sure to leave a like down below, as it really does help me out, and leave a comment. Again, let me know what you think about Spectrier. What do you think of its counterpart? What do you think about this Pokemon in general, of like how it looks? As yeah, it definitely looks incomplete, but I think that's the design that they were going for. And which of these sets do you think could be the best potential? The support set, the bulky setup set, or the Life Orb set? But yeah, otherwise, items wise, yeah, I don't think there aren't much you could really run. I don't think Assault Vest is a really good item. I don't think it really puts it. I don't think Bulky Berries help it. I don't think Leftovers help it. I don't think Rocky Helmet helps it. Goggles, I don't think so. I mean, I think you would really stick to these items. I just can't really see what other items you would really run on this Pokemon. Maybe you could run Weakness Policy, Shadow Sneak stuff, but why not just run Dragapult with Airstream? That can just do the same thing and is faster, you know? So yeah, that's why I think these three pets are probably the most likely out of the bunch that you could really run. I think this Pokemon is again very limited. But yeah, that's gonna be it. And yeah, let me know. Have a great day, people, and until we bow again, I'll catch y'all later.